examination that showed only positive results. Okay, now, so far you can say, okay, maybe, I guess the guy's in good health, he's older, but it's no problem. Okay, God bless. Wait. Actually, his blood pressure, 110 over 65, and laboratory tests, results were astonishingly excellent. Who talks like that? Well, there's only two people I know, Trump and Trump's doctor. Okay, he went on to say, his physical strength and stamina are extraordinary. And then my favorite line. If elected, Mr. Trump, I can state unequivocally, will be the healthiest individual ever elected to the presidency. Like, dude, how would you know? Did you examine James Madison? Were you with the dark horse candidate, James Polk? How would you know he's the healthiest president to ever take office? Then we found out later that when he wrote that letter, and you know how we found out? Bornstein admitted it. He said in an interview that, Donald Trump was downstairs waiting in a limo, and I had to write it in 5 minutes. In other words, he didn't even examine him at the time. He's just like, oh, astonishingly excellent. Whatever else you need, Mr. Trump. Am I still getting paid? Apparently, his wife, in the middle of one of these ill-advised interviews, tried to cut off the interview and threatened to call the cops. The problem isn't the person asking the questions, it's the person answering the questions that's the problem. So don't blame the reporters. Okay, now if you haven't seen him before, I know you're seeing him in the graphic, but take a look at Dr. Harold Bornstein there. If you had to guess what Trump's doctor looks like, wouldn't you kind of guess this guy? Okay, anyway, he's in the news again. So they asked him, look, again, Trump is going to be fairly old going in here. It's in the 70s. He talked to Stat magazine, which is appropriately named for a medical magazine, and they explain, and Bornstein also said that aside from Trump being slightly overweight, he's never found anything wrong with the president-elect and had, quote, nothing to share about his condition. That's a curious way of putting it, nothing to share, right? So he then went on to explain a little further where he has done more damage. So he says, strangely, or media now explaining the interview, strangely, Bornstein contextualized this by claiming that no one knew Ronald Reagan had pre-senile dementia from his Alzheimer's until he was already out of office. Now wait, why are you saying that in the context of earlier saying, I have nothing to share about Donald Trump? Not that there isn't anything to share, I'm just not going to share it with you. And remember, they didn't find out what was wrong with Reagan until he left office. Okay, he says, I mean, seriously, did they share that one with you? Or did Nancy Reagan just cover it up? But wait, are you implying that you're covering something up? This guy is so strange, but we're not even done. Bornstein said that Trump isn't an old man the way my grandfather was an old man. Oh, well, that'll explain it. I'm so reassured. This guy's a doctor. And he's like, I don't know, I did a medical exam on him, I don't remember when. And he didn't seem like my grandfather, so I think we're covered. And remember, I've got nothing to share like the Reagans. Okay, it's gonna get worse. First, real quick aside, they asked him about Hillary Clinton, who, of course, he has never examined. And he said, she's an old lady. She's an old lady. It's funny, isn't it? Dude, everything you say is funny, but I don't even know what you're saying there. Okay, all right. Then here comes the killer line. They said, well, I mean, look, we got to know the president, what if he dies in office? And that's a very serious issue, right? That's what we got to know about his medical conditions. Bornstein says, if something happens to him, then it happens to him. Just like all the rest of us, no? That's why we have a vice president and a speaker of the House and a whole line of people. They can just keep dying. What? I don't know if there's anything wrong with Donald Trump. His medical issues are the least of my problems, but this is his doctor saying, like, if he dies, he dies. Well, that's what you got a vice president for. The least reassuring statement I have ever seen from a doctor. If I went to the doctor and the doctor said, yeah, if you die, you die, I don't think that I would be comforted by that prognosis. So, oh boy. What does Trump have? No one knows. Least of all, Dr. Bornstein. I almost want to get an appointment with the guy, right? Like, have him examine me. What do I know? Am I going to really examine you? Anyway, okay, guys, I got to take a quick break. When I come back, can I see 385? We got to get to 500 by tomorrow. I got to do the announcement tomorrow. You crazy dog? Go tell everybody. TYTnetwork.com/go. And as great as these stories were, the story about Bolton's mustache is even better. Come back. All right, post game here. Studio. It's a green screen. Magico internet television. A lot of contemplation. Any conversation that starts with marriage is an interesting thing deserves a little bit of.
When the kid cries, perhaps that's the that is an opportunity to do so. It's an opportunity to do some parenting.
Yeah, parenting is you cry, you're gone.
Oh my God!
I love that video.
Yeah, Ben, I got a great achoo. You're like, my mouth was open. She sneezed in my eye.
I used to have donut tower next to my desk. Yeah, I'll dress up like a girl. I sound confident now, Anna.
Yeah.
When we're off the air, I'm gonna be like, how is this gonna work?
When you get literally asked why 21 straight times.
Yeah.
Like at some point, you're fucking with me now, right?
So I dumped the kids off at her mom's, and I drove down to La Jolla for a day.
Get out, kids.
They're like, but Daddy, no.
Why? What do you mean, why? You asked me to look at you. You did it. You brought it up. You know you're doing it. Why? I don't know why. I was reading. Here's what's different. Like, it is a different feeling. Everybody says this, but it's 5:11 when we're shooting this. I can't wait to go home. Like that. I can't wait to see it.
What you guys do is allow us to be open and honest, and we don't have to worry about censorship. We don't have to worry about sponsors telling us what we can and can't say. We're accountable by our audience and our audience only, and I absolutely love that. That's the best part about being a member, and we love you guys.
I would definitely not allow anyone to come into my locker room while I'm getting changed. Considering this was a major match at WrestleMania and the legacy was as strong as ever on this night, I'm actually surprised that Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes did not make any appearances whatsoever in Randy's match.
Thank you, Texas.
2.5 minutes of a boring promo from JBL. Also, it takes literally 7 minutes before the match begins following the introductions.
This is the greatest day in JBL's life.
Something tells me he's going to get annihilated in less than a minute.
I would return to Texas champion.
Actually, you said you wanted to return to Texas as World Heavyweight Champion. You specifically stated which title you wanted to hold. You know, with that whole situation you had with Shawn Michaels at the start of this year.
I will give you the most dominant victory.
JBL just spoiled this match. Thanks a lot, man. Well, I have to admit, that Joker costume is very well put together.
Heath Ledger's Joker? I think the race career is alive and well, King.
Well, I'm throwing in 10 sins right there. I know JR said that by accident, but I don't give a shit. Adding in, I think Ray's career is alive and well, following Jerry saying Heath Ledger's Joker is disrespectful.
In New York City, he is the...
I never understood why ring announcers don't say how much a certain wrestler weighs, like JBL and Shawn Michaels. The only exception, in my opinion, to not announce the weight of the wrestler during introductions is the women.
I'd say he's a good 6'6".
Why is this referee delivering instructions to two veterans of wrestling? And why now? Oh, that's why. Also, pre-match assault. What a ripoff of a championship match. JBL stands around for almost 2 minutes before he quits the WWE.
I quit!
But I'll be back in 3 years as a commentator instead of a wrestler, but still.
It's presented by...
Skip. I don't care what anybody says. No wrestling match at WrestleMania has ever been perfectly executed the way this one has. I won't sin that, but admit it. No match has ever been better than this. Not even the sequel to this match, mainly due to Undertaker's leg injury.
If there's anybody that ought to face The Undertaker, you're looking at him.
Just because.
You may be 16-0, but I am Mr. WrestleMania.
No greater truth than that. This has to be in the top 3 entrances of Shawn Michaels, mainly because of the meaning of this entrance. Shawn portraying an angel descending from heaven, while Undertaker portrays a demon rising from hell. This entrance combined with Undertaker's is worth a removal of 5 sins. And I'm removing another sin because I love how Undertaker just cuts off Shawn's music instead of the usual 1-minute wait. The referee counted for the disqualification, and Shawn was attacking Undertaker for longer than the 5 count, but the referee stopped at 3 for some stupid reason. Making injuries. What was the point of Undertaker just pausing for 5 seconds instead of attacking? He didn't really take any damage from Shawn at all early on in the match, so why the pause? Either Shawn fell too early from old school, or the Undertaker didn't even connect at all. Take your pick. Was one of the tricks in that book to win the first ever Hell in a Cell match involving Kane debuting and being the one responsible for the victory? This modified version of the figure 4 leg lock doesn't seem like it hurts as much as the original does. What does Shawn have against doing the original figure 4?
Remember the threat from The Undertaker to Shawn Michaels that you would open Hell's Gates.
You know, that same threat he tells almost every single one of his opponents. From my experience, slapping an injured leg only increases the pain, not heal it. Unnecessary twister spin from a boot that missed Shawn's face completely. Well, that's obviously not a crossface considering Shawn's hooking Undertaker's neck. Might as well call it cross neck, or sleeper cross or something, I don't know. You just ruined that line, Michael. Proper way to say it is the dead man cometh, because the dead man has cometh makes no sense. Sounds more like a religious way of saying he ejaculated. What the fuck was that? Epic fail. Jesus, that's a few smashed ribs, a possible dislocated shoulder, and a busted kneecap right there. How Shawn was able to continue after that is beyond me. But it's moments where determination is beyond impressive that makes this match so perfect. Hope you don't mind, I'm just taking a power nap in the ring. Also, the referee's not counting out Shawn like he's supposed to. It's been over a minute since Shawn made that jump. Holy fuck! Undertaker's neck is definitely broken right there. That was one of the scariest dives I have ever seen in the nearly 18 years I've watched wrestling. I legit thought Undertaker had been seriously hurt. But it's definitely amazing that, like Shawn, Undertaker was able to get back up and continue to put on the most perfect match in WWE history. But also the referee barely hit the barricade at all, and yet he is unconscious. 3 minutes of being outside the ring and Shawn getting the referee back to his senses. This slow and suspenseful count is one of the best moments of this match, because after what Undertaker went through, many of us thought it'd be impossible that he would be able to re-enter the ring. 7 or 8? What do you mean 7 or 8? It's obvious that the referee's count is at 7. No need to say 4 or 8 unless 7 is secretly 8. Actually, the referee's hand says otherwise, considering he doesn't have 9 fingers on one hand. LOL. Now that is a picture-perfect chokeslam.
Okay.
Even though Sean is standing, the referee continues the count. Unless this is secretly a last man standing match, there's no reason for the referee to continue counting. You're only supposed to count if both of the wrestlers are down, not just one.
So you guys can go
You
crazy.
get back up here.
And have them start working. Come on.
Infringement attempt failed.
TYTnetwork.com/go.
Strangulation.
You know what moves this one?
See? This right here was when kicking out of the tombstone after the match
Mrs.
went on
Data
for over
writes
20 minutes was
between
unheard
this
of.
time referring to
This
Dr.
right
Morrison
here was
and
when
Ben
kicking
Carson.
out of the
I'm
tombstone
not impressed
was
with that.
rare and an extremely shocking moment.
Hard to blame you.
These days,
Hard to blame
everybody
you,
expects the tombstone kick out. WWE
So,
should have saved the tombstone kickouts for moments like that instead of almost all the time now. I'm deducting another 5 cents for that epic moment. DDT'd right onto
So
your
it is that
ribs.
time of year when the Young Turks are going to announce their turn of the year, the jerk of the year.
Only a minute of tuning of the band, almost
and
everyone
we need your
believed
help.
that Undertaker would
Now,
counter,
normally,
and when
this
Shawn
is a very
succeeded with
committee,
sweet chin music, I guarantee
Davos
everyone
Circle.
believed the streak was
Did I
over.
say that out loud?
Aside from the Hell in a Cell match
But
with Undertaker
this year
and
we're
Triple
going to
H
enlist
3
your
years
help.
later,
We
no
put
moment of
together
the
a
streak
poll.
possibly ending was
We
bigger
want
than
you to
this.
do writing campaigns right now. Put in a couple of people there.
Chin music.
Years,
First of all, that was a simple kick to counter Undertaker running towards Shawn.
Sorry, Hillary.
That was in no way a sweet chin music. Secondly,
get
it's
written in
called
anyway.
sweet chin
But I
music.
want you to write in your candidates so that we can have a final four.
That was an epic counter for an epic conclusion to an epic
ignore it and do
match.
my own anyway.
I know many have different opinions on what
seriously,
they believe was the
right
best
now,
match in WrestleMania history, but you can't deny that this match was one of the best, if not the most perfectly executed match in WrestleMania. Every single moment from the start bell to the end bell was epic, with the selling of injuries, the moves, and the shocking and scary moments as well. For the first time ever, I am deducted 100 cents to one event just because of this match. Also, I'm not saying this point, but some of you are confused that the sin counter didn't shatter in this case. Well, the reason for that is because the other times it shattered was because it had less than 100 cents, and that's the maximum limit of sins being removed on this channel. Learn something new every day. And to be quite honest, this match should have been the main event, as this would have been the perfect ending to WrestleMania 25. The remaining two matches did very well, but definitely did not top what we just went through.
What the R and rated R superstar stands for. And all the links that I ever tell you about are always in the description box.
There's no way John Cena could have predicted that this was going to happen, as there was absolutely zero hints of a relationship between the Big Show and Vicky Guerrero prior to the security footage.
Especially the turn of the year.
Chavo Guerrero seriously just pushed Vicky until they were at the halfway point, then just wait until the promo was over?
Okay.
All right, chew gum into the crowd. Yes, I know who inspired Edge to do that. Don't care though.
That's what he said, but when he got on the scale said one at a time, please.
Fat jokes.
Buckle up.
An army.
All right, I admit I laughed at the army of John Cena because the entrance was just so great. May have been John's best customized entrance to date.
Ambassador to the United Nations. Right. So he is
arm raising.
one of the biggest pops in the country. There's no war that
It was
he
Michael
hasn't
Cole
fought
using that blah blah blah
So,
evokes
and he
emotion
was,
blah 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 the way
apparently
John Cena does line.
person who had the best chance of becoming the number 2 guy at the State
But did
Department.
the commentators just say that show weighed 485 pounds?
So that's
or were
what
they just
all
being
of the
sarcastic?
news had it because of internal
What an
trouble.
idiot.
And it turns out he won't be young.
Interrupt WrestleMania 25 to bring in those 2 different episodes of Monday Night Raw where Show did the exact same thing to Edge. That's the second possible broken tailbone that we've seen tonight.
Several comic sources said they thought that John
Trump will likely only interfere because this match seemed to be going
was one of
nowhere.
the factors that handicapped him on past the former United Nations ambassador in the sweepstakes for Secretary of State.
Slowest
Now,
5-knuckle
apparently,
shuffle
it also
I have
given
ever
him
seen.
for the
Boring.
number 2. I heard that on radio, and then you put cameras too. It's amazing. Who's going to be this shallow? But listen to all
Big
the
Show
evidence.
telling the referee to
So
get him
now,
out of the
here's another
predicament he's in.
associate.
Why is that a sin?
Is
Because since
privy
the
to the
referee
internal,
kindly obliged to do that, why didn't
Donald
Show
was
just
not
ask the
gonna like
referee to
that
help in the
mustache.
first place
I
instead of
can't
yelling
name
at
anyone
John and
that's really
Edge for
close to
2
Donald that has
minutes?
a beard that he likes. Let's show you this very
Sorry,
controversial
JR,
one.
but
Now, I
Michael said
grant
it
you that
first.
he
We
looks
didn't need to
miserable.
repeat.
Terrible.
Big Show
And he
lands on
needs
his
to
side
own
whenever
that
he fails to
mustache.
deliver the splash from the
Having
second
said
row
that, that
cliche.
is not why you eliminate someone from consideration.
No, we didn't feel that big move because the goddamn cameras missed it.
thrilled
we don't
that
even
John
know what it
Bolton
looked
is not
like, so
gonna be
how
the
the hell would we feel it?
And if it turns out the child, Donald Trump, made a decision based
No
on
words to
appearances,
describe how surprising that was.
us
Whether
lucky
Ed
on this
slipped up or not,
But
that
this
was
is
amazing
not how a
strength,
president
even
is
from
supposed
someone
to
like
make
John
decisions.
Cena.
It turns out
I'm taking on 5 cents whether you like it or not.
And I had heard about this in regards to Chris Christie.
No
When
greater
he was
feeling than
considering
shutting up your
one of his
haters.
internal sources said at the time,
Doesn't matter
he
if
doesn't
it's
like
just
that
the
Chris
ring
Christie
announcer
looks like
saying
a
what
slob.
sponsor to
He's too
spend.
overweight.
Still going to
That's
say
Trump's overweight, right? But no, Chris Christie is too overweight. Donald cares about his game.
Alright, I gotta say, that was one of the coolest entrances
I
of
know
the night.
Donald
And
Trump's not
impressive
very
how
bright.
Steve Austin was able to get out of his
That
suit so
shallow
fast.
making decisions on that. Now, I'm just going to choose a mustache, but we're
Doesn't
not
matter
done.
how long this
Listen to
was,
more.
I can't see a Steve
This is
Austin beer
Jason
shower
Miller,
and not remove us
Trump's
in.
spokesperson. He says, quote, presentation
Even though
is
it was
very
awesome
important
seeing JR
because
drink
you're
with Steve,
representing
I still
America,
gotta
not
sit
only
up
on
for
the
a
national
drinking
stage,
on the job.
but also on the international stage, depending on the position.
Steve is addicted to
They're not
coolers.
denying it. That's his spokesperson
But with the
saying,
amount of beer that Steve drank, it's obvious that he will be driving on the road. LOL.
Your idea shows his family.
So Randy annihilated the McMahon family because of something that happened 5 years prior to this event. It was just a world title celebration ruin. It's not like Hunter killed your parents or something. Also,
Now,
can't
we
let
go
go
to
of the past.
another
Can't let
ally
go of
of
the
Trump,
past.
Chris Ruddy.
Also, Randy
His
did not
Newsmax
take out
media
every
chief
member of the
executive. He
McMahon
says
family because he never
about
went after
Trump,
Linda.
he likes
So
people who
you
present
missed
themselves
one,
very
man.
well. He's very impressed that somebody has background for being good on
I have
television.
the music play
Because
before
he
you
thinks
can
it's a very
finish.
important medium for public policy. If you say, hey,
Randy
look,
Orton
some of
thinks
my
he's the
guys have to be
Undertaker or something
well-spoken.
because this entrance lasts
No
about
problem.
5 minutes.
But if you say they got to look pretty on TV, and that is one of the top things that I'm
Hunter
considering.
tripped way through the sledgehammer to the glass.
Okay.
Also,
Ruddy
Hunter is addicted to his
continues.
own
Don't
reflection.
forget, he's a showbiz guy. There's a pinnacle in showbiz,
Easy.
and he thinks
Destroy
about
Randy
showbiz.
Orton. Sometimes there are more important things than the championship belt when it comes to personal situations.
My God, you know
This referee hesitating for about 20 seconds before deciding to raise the championship.
for reality. He's casting.
Lillian Garcia pausing at ringside as though
It's
she doesn't know if she
reality.
should go back to her seat beside the
It's all
timekeeper
about
or
reality.
stay where she is.
You gotta be careful there.
Instead of doing the 5 counts, this
moron
referee
is
just
gonna
lets
make
Hunter
no
stop on
work.
Randy for about 20 seconds.
This is
Telling
not
him
a
to stop
reality
ain't gonna
show.
work.
It
That's
isn't
what
TV.
counting
It
is
isn't
for.
entertainment.
Alright,
It's the
I'm
real
removing the
world.
sin because that stare right
You're
there
the most
scared the
powerful
shit
man
out of
on
me.
earth.
True
If
look
you
of
make
an evil
decisions based on
snake.
mustache and weight
Ow,
and
my
appearance.
hands!
Oh my God, we're all in for a lot of pain over the
Let
next
me
4
wash my
years.
face with a bottle of
So
water
more
that you
from
bought
Ruddy,
after
since
standing in
Trump
line
might
for
not
about
necessarily
15
be somebody
minutes.
who should be
Forgot
on
to
the
wash
cover
my
of
face when I
50
showered
magazine
this
or
morning.
Vanity Fair. It's more about the look and the demeanor and the swagger. See, check this out. See,
Wait.
he actually was
Also,
seriously
why the
considering Mitt
fuck does
Romney,
Hunter
even though
need
Mitt
to
Romney
wait?
had said all
You
those terrible
assaulted
things
his
about him during
family,
the primary.
RKO'd and kiss raped his wife.
Some believe
And you
that he
think
was
Hunter will
definitely
actually
messing
wait
with
for you
him.
to get back to
I'm
your
in that
feet?
camp. That's what I thought
Stupid
it was.
idiot.
But now some are saying, no,
He's on my
like
cable, I
Mitt
can't go
Romney,
under
he
him.
was presentable. Just realize that until the referee
start counting.
It'll take approximately all the
That's
minutes to
apparently
count
one of
him
the
out.
reasons why he likes Rex Tillerson. He's like, oh,
Randy
he's
is left
successful
with
running a
Hunter's
big
saliva
company.
on his
But
neck for the rest of this match.
he'd
Gross.
be good on TV. He's tall. He's got a
I
nice
know that
swagger.
Hunter was
Nice head
countering
of
that
hair.
move, but what if he didn't bring up his leg to
This
counter
is
Randy?
not a
What
movie.
motivated Randy to climb to the second
Now,
rope and jump off just to land on his feet again?
General James Guys. And he is going
What
to
a
be
devastating drop kick
Trump's
to the
Secretary
air.
of Defense. So why did he fix it? Well, let's go to the man himself.
I
Because if
understand
you're not
that the
believing
WWE
his internal
Championship is on the
advisors,
line,
you're not
but I
believing
think
the guys
just
who
for
are
this
going on the
one
record.
moment,
Well, let's go
Hunter
to
should
Trump.
have been like,
Trump
fuck
said,
it, this guy annihilated my
Madness is
family. I don't care about the title as long as I kill him.
And
This table didn't break.
that he used that so much more that he looks like that.
on the floor that
What?
didn't move
So
either.
here's Madness.
How do you expect the floor to move at
Here's
all?
Pat.
I thought Gordon was going to
He
destroy it.
does kind of
Just
look
like with
like
Hunter
Pat, but
earlier,
it gets
this
better.
referee's not even trying to
They
do the
actually
5
think he
count. Like,
means
seriously, what
once
ails
he's
him?
shot, who played Pat?
Referee knocked down a crucial point in match
This
cliche.
is the level of insanity that he got headed for us
I know that the
for 4
referee is
years.
down, but he is literally facing Randy and
Unbelievable!
somehow doesn't see
Okay,
him with a
not done.
sledgehammer in his hand. His eyes weren't
One of the
closed
things that
either.
Trump liked about Madness. Get a
Most
good
awkward
nickname.
punt I have ever
Because,
seen.
you know, he's known as
Considering it never
Bad
even
Dog
connected
Guys, right?
with Randy at all.
Bad Dog for a reason.
Also, copyright infringement.
You know what that is? That's
Using
like
an
wrestling.
illegal weapon
right?
as
Like
an
golf.
advantage to win the match.
Okay.
What the hell
And
are the
finally,
fans
one
looking
other
at?
source
Neither
from
member of
his
Legacy or the
transition.
McMahons
Yeah,
are showing
part of
up,
the
so
internal
what the hell are they looking
says,
at? Some are even
That's the
pointing at the
language
stage too.
he's very aesthetic.
Ah,
You can come with somebody who's very much
qualified for the job. But if they don't
Whoa,
look
what
the
the
part,
fuck is this? Why the hell are we posting a 5-minute flashback of the entire event? That is one of the most unnecessary endings to a WrestleMania that I have ever seen. I'm adding in 5 cents for that stupid decision.
He's going to cause untold damage. But he's going to look pretty good. Okay. Now, let's go on to the media. Recent poll out from NBC News and Wall Street Journal, and they did a poll of all the different professions in the country, and they wanted to see who was popular and not popular. Military did well, cops did really well, small business did great, high-tech industry was fourth, so wonderful. Those are all good things. Local government scored surprisingly high. But what surprised the media is that they themselves scored very, very poorly. When they asked, do you have a great deal or quite a bit of confidence in the U.S. media, only 16% said yes. That is a terrible number. 28% said they have some confidence in the U.S. media, and 55% said very little or none at all. No confidence in the media. Now, when they break it down by different news outlets, specific news outlets do better than that, because they have people have their favorites. Some might hate Fox News, but they like ABC News. Some might hate CNN, but they like Fox, etc. And everybody loves the Young Turks, of course. But they didn't poll the Young Turks, so if they had, of course, the scores would be much higher. Okay. But one of the analysis from the mainstream media about the mainstream media was, oh, it's because of Trump. Trump's been attacking the media so much, that's why the American people don't trust us anymore. No, it has very, very little to do with Trump. In fact, if you go to pre-Trump era, back in 2014, they didn't score much higher. Instead of 16%, they scored 19%. So, nearly the same thing, and certainly if Trump had an effect, it was a small one. No, guys, let me explain it to you, because apparently you're not getting it. The mainstream media in this country, best example is CNN. They don't have a liberal bias. That's comical. They're owned by a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and the decisions that filter down from management, and including the people who they put on here, is, hey, status quo, don't rock the boat. We're the ones in charge. Why the hell would we want to change anything? So they don't have a liberal bias. I don't even think they have a conservative bias, although that parent corporation is by its nature conservative, wants lower taxes, less regulation on the media, and wants to, push towards more mergers, etc. So if anything, they have a conservative bias, but I don't think that's really the main thing. I actually think they have an establishment bias, which is, hey, all these multi-billion-dollar corporations that run the media, we are the establishment. Why the hell would we want to change it? But they don't know it. And the people who got hired to push that agenda forward don't realize that's why they got hired. So they keep pushing out this message. The government is great. The Republican Party is honest. The Democratic Party is honest. The Pentagon is honest. And boy, they would never lie to you. And they're honorable gentlemen having debates. Taking money from donors and then doing whatever the hell the donors want and never ever listening to their voters? Why, I would never. Are you besmirching their reputation and their honor? Well, that's why people don't trust you. Because yes, we are. We don't believe them, and we're right. Princeton and Northwestern did a study. They studied 1,800 policy positions over decades. Public opinion has no effect on public policy. So they are not listening to their voters. And, of course, the one thing that has nearly a direct effect is donor opinion. But you never report that. So after a while, the American people wisen up to it. And that's why they don't trust you. They think those guys, all those million-dollar anchors out there, they don't have my best interest in mind. They got hired to make sure that we just kept on doing exactly what we're doing and that nobody ever disturbed the system. And if you disturb the system from the right or the left, you're the Tea Party or you're Occupy Wall Street. What do you get? You'll get sneering anchors that giggle at you. You go, well, those Occupy guys, they still have iPhones. Who said they had to burn their iPhones? Oh, the Tea Party guys, they get dressed up. Everybody remember, don't rock the boat. The system is right. The establishment is right. Keep on going. But that's why they don't like you. Because that system is not working for the average American. Now, the only things that scored as poorly or worse than media are also interesting. Same exact score, 16%, Congress. By the way, this is good news for Congress. I've seen them as low as 7% in other polls. And unsurprising, Congress is the corrupted. And then you've got the mainstream media who hides the ball, who does propaganda for them. And then let's go to the corruptors, because if you listen to the media, they'll tell you, no, and a lot of Democrats have internalized this. You ask Democratic Party guys in D.C., no, don't attack big business. Americans love big business. They know that that's what creates jobs. And so, they're very popular. Don't attack them. Total nonsense. They're even less popular than politicians and less popular than the media. 15%. So 15% of Americans say they have a great deal or quite a bit of confidence in large corporations, and the rest do not agree. So because the rest of us are not suckers. Not everybody who works for a multi-billion-dollar company gets a $20 million contract like anchors on TV do. Most of the guys have their wages cut. They have those same corporations argue against the minimum wage, and they have them argue against safety for workers. They have those corporations crush them at every turn. You can't take holidays. You got to work overtime, but I'm not going to pay you for overtime. They live with that. No matter how much propaganda you put out there, you can't erase their actual existence, what they know in their fiber of their beings, what they live. So no, I got news for you, media. They don't like you. They don't like your stinking politicians who you love and honor and cherish every day. And you put out there like demigods. Oh, the honorable gentleman from Nevada is here. He has graced us. We need access to him. You don't need access to any of those guys. They're deeply unpopular. If you actually cared about serving your audience, you'd never have them on. And then finally, those corporations that you keep telling us that American people love, it is not remotely true. And then finally, among the corporations that they dislike the most, health insurance companies, 12%. They tell us, oh no, the Republicans say this, and the media repeats it over and over again. Oh no, Americans don't want a government takeover of healthcare. They're distrustful of the government, and they don't want the government bureaucrats. Okay, now look, depending on the polling and how you frame that, you'll get different results on that question. But you know who they trust less? Health insurance companies. They're at a rock bottom 12% popularity. But how come you never hear that in the media? Because watch. If you keep on watching, you'll run into ads. And where will the ads be coming from? Two sources, especially in the middle of an election. One is politicians. Politicians pour in billions of dollars into television advertising. But even bigger source than that, and not just during elections, but throughout, drug companies. That's what so many of the ads that power TV are. So they're never going to tell you, but you already know. You already know that you don't like your health insurance companies. You know you don't like the media, and you know you don't like large corporations. So the rest of the media gets upset at me when I report what you guys think. I didn't come up with that. That's NBC News, Wall Street Journal polling. By the way, they're the ones who did the poll. Are they screaming about it 24/7? I'm sure they covered it, right? It's their poll. But are they coming back to this over and over again every time they do meet the press? Now remember, everybody, how much Americans hate large corporations and the media and politicians and how much they think they're sold out. No, they just go back to business as usual. All right, well, with us, you're going to get something completely different. You know what it is? The reality. And it's your reality. And all we're doing is sharing it with you. All right. By the way, you can get more of that great reporting at tytnetwork.com/go. Okay? So let's get more journalists and do some real reporting. Okay? All right. By the way, all the graphics said Washington Street Journal. It's not. It's the Wall Street Journal. But I already told you that. All right. Let's go to the next one. Okay. This is great. Daily Beast with an interesting article about how people who worked on the Bernie Sanders campaign in the general election tried to help Hillary Clinton. But Clinton's team wouldn't have any of it. Really interesting. So hear them out on this. The reporter writes, in the final months of the brutal and chaotic 2016 campaign, there were plenty of Democratic activists freaking out about Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, the three states that ultimately cost the Democrats the White House, and Clinton's fatal shortcomings there. Many of them were envoys of the Sanders camp who wanted to help fix those problems. Now let's find out if the Clinton team wanted to hear from the Sanders team who was trying to help them. Well, we're going to go to Nomiki Konstier. She was one of the top surrogates for Bernie Sanders. And they explain here, she was saying, we were saying that we are offering our help. Nobody wanted President Donald Trump. She noted that the Bernie World side was offering Clinton's team their plans, strategy memos, lists of hardened state organizers, timelines, data, the works, to win over certain voters in areas Hillary Clinton ultimately lost, but where Sanders had won during the primary. Now, so they're not coming and saying, hey, listen to us because you need to appease us. They're saying, how can we help? Nobody wants President Trump. And what was the reaction? Well, Namiki explains, they fucking ignored us on all these battleground states while we were sounding the alarm for months. She goes on to say, we kept saying to each other, like, what the fuck? Why are they just blowing us off? They need these voters more than anybody. See, this is what they couldn't understand, the Clinton team. I had the same interaction with them. You need progressive voters. Oh, now you want something else. No, I don't want anything. The only thing I want is that for the clown Donald Trump not to be president. The primary's over. Oh, okay, so you want us to appease you more. Oh, for Christ's sake. Okay, you're going to lose. Your arrogance is stunning. No, we got this thing figured out. Now, to give you a sense of how much they didn't get it, the Clinton camp had a position called their Progressive Outreach Coordinator. Now, if you're a real progressive, do you need a Progressive Outreach Coordinator? Wouldn't that be your entire campaign? They were never real progressives. They needed to do outreach to progressives because they didn't have any in the House. In fact, their Progressive Outreach Coordinator came after the primaries from Bernie's team. Okay. Now, here's Jane Cleave. She was a Nebraska Democratic Party chair, and she was also on the Sanders side during the primaries. She says, we not only screamed about this, we wrote memos, we begged. I spent a good chunk of my time writing memos about how Bernie surrogates could be utilized on the campaign trail, about issue voters, about the environment, Black Lives Matter, Dakota Access Pipeline, rogue cops, you name it. But you see, Jane, they were never going to do that because they don't agree with you. The Clinton camp, when if you told them, hey, let's talk about rogue cops, they're like, oh, wait, that's dangerous. What do our pollsters say? I don't want to offend anyone. If you say, let's talk about the Dakota Access Pipeline, they're like, no. Why? Because they're probably going to approve the Dakota Access Pipeline. So they're like, no, thank you, no, thank you. We're going to win anyway. We don't need your help. We're going to win anyway. So, Daily Beast explains, assurances were made with various Clinton senior staffers that they would follow through with subsequent meetings and phone calls to address these gaps and warnings. Instead, meetings were canceled and rescheduled into oblivion. They didn't want to hear. Cleave noted that instead of subsequent discussion about battleground strategy and resources, what she got was a handful of conference calls where the Sanders alumni would get to hear about 3 top talking points for Hillary Clinton's email server or something. Here are these guys telling them, hey, look, if you go in these directions on policy matters, we have seen through experience that it works. It gets you more voters. They're like, yes. Now our talking points. That's very cute. And here are the talking points you will say if you make it onto television. No, we want to do grassroots. We want to actually go get the voters and get them to vote against Trump. Oh, that's very cute. Here are your talking points. Okay. More from Jane Cleave. The Clinton campaign believed they had the strongest and brightest people in the room, and they had no concept of why people would choose Bernie Sanders over Hillary Clinton. They mocked us. They made fun of us. They always had a motto that was supposed to save the day. We were street activists, and they don't get that. And that's a fundamental divide. They ran a check-the-box, sanitized campaign. It's totally true. I went to Hillary Clinton headquarters during the general election once. And I remember looking around going, something strange here. Like, I've been to a lot of Bernie volunteer places all across the country, in Texas, New York, Washington, you name it, California. And in Brooklyn headquarters for Hillary, I'm like, oh, almost everybody in here is rich. Everybody working there, super polished. They're all dying to go to Yale. This is going to buff up their resume. Maybe I'm being unfair, but that's what it looked like to me. That's what it looked like to these guys. 2 totally separate experiences, same conclusion. And everybody would, like, whenever you made a suggestion, they would always, like, look around like, what will the bosses say, right? And we've got to hear from the dear leader. Oh, the dear leader's not in favor of that. We're not going to do that. But be human. You know, it turns out what voters like? Fellow humans. But they all look like robots. Now, one more from Cleveland, and I know what the Hillary people are going to think. They're going to think this is unfair. I don't think it's unfair. To the point I was making, she says, for me, this is not about Hillary Clinton. This is about Hillary Clinton's staff becoming too insular, too professional, where regular working-class folks did not matter to them. She had too many people on her campaign wearing Prada, going into pollster meetings, not enough of us. So it seemed to me that when they talked to progressives, including me, they wanted to think about it. How do I get your audience? How do I get the Bernie Sanders supporters? And what I would say, and apparently what these guys said, is through the issues. They didn't pick Bernie Sanders out of a hat. They picked him because the guy's been fighting on those issues for 40 years. The guy's earnest. And so, but it's not about Bernie. It's about those issues. So they're like, yes. But how do we do it without the issues? Okay, so now you're going to get a sense of it from the Clinton camp's response to this story. So Hillary Clinton's national political director, Amanda Renteria, said, I think what we took from them, referring to the Bernie people, on a national message, her tone of our cause is your cause at the National Convention was the right tone. That really did derive from listening to them in that meeting we had. She talks about one specific large meeting they had where they actually listened for a little while. But look at that. She's like, we had a meeting with them and decided, the correct message is our cause is your cause. It's not about the message. It's about, is it actually your cause? I don't think they learned a thing from it. One more from her. She says, and in the calls I had with them every other week following up, we inserted college affordability and climate change at their pushing. They don't get it. First of all, you shouldn't have to insert it at someone's pushing, because it isn't to appease them. It's to win votes. But they never believe that. They believe, no, we've got these super fancy posters that we pay a lot of money for, and we're going to do cute little gimmicks here, and we're going to be super polished, and we're all going to wear the right clothes, and then we're going to go out there and tell these people these scripted talking points, and, let's talk about messaging a little bit, and we'll insert some things here to make you happy. But they never believed, and if you had felt that you had to insert free college education or pushing for climate change, well, then you never cared enough to actually make a difference, and you think people can't tell, but they can tell, and that's why you lost. Okay. And one more here. Now let's go to one more Sanders supporter, Robert Becker. This is graphic 68. He was the organizer in Iowa and Michigan, and he says, again, trying to help, but he says there was no outreach to me, but I did get a call 3 weeks out from Election Day from someone who was in the DNC sounding the alarm about Michigan. They didn't feel like they were getting strong support from the union members. He continues, these trade deals that were going on for decades, that were enabled by the Democratic Party in large part, they hurt. The Clinton campaign didn't address the anger about this. So 3 weeks from before the election, they're like, okay, how do we get the unions to vote for us? You get the unions, and more importantly, the people who actually work in those states, to vote for you if you have the right policy. Not by trying to figure out how to trick them 3 weeks before the election. And, by the way, you might not have wanted to ignore unions in Michigan for the entirety of the election. Are you insane? Gee, I wonder why you lost Michigan. You didn't go to any union halls. Look, I'm not a big union guy. But if I want to win Michigan, I'd go to a couple of union halls, and I'd hear them out. And I wouldn't pretend to listen. I would actually listen. Finally, they got the message apparently a little too late. After the election, the campaign manager for Hillary Clinton, Robbie Mook, said, in a race where people wanted fundamental change, Donald Trump sure was fundamental change. There was a strength being an outsider. Yeah, Robbie, that's what we told you all along. We didn't tell you that because we disliked you. We didn't tell you that because we secretly wanted you to lose. We told you that because we didn't want Donald Trump to win. Look at the mess the country's in now because of you. We told you that because that was the correct way to get more votes. People didn't want an establishment robot. How dense were you guys? You took the most pro-establishment person and you ran them in a way where she promised almost no change at all, in an era where people are dying for change, dying for an outsider. So even though Donald Trump had a 60% disapproval rating on the day of the election, even though 17% of his own voters said he was unqualified for office, They voted for him anyway because you gave them no alternative. And you wouldn't listen to anyone who was trying to help you. Alright, I'm going to take a break here. I'm going to come back with some more stories. Right back.
Alright, we got a graphic incoming. Press about 3, 2, 1. Alright. Video next. And next video. And power panel. And drop it.
Stop for the pan down. Dump them out. Told you again, quicker. Told you. Told you. You've got to start listening to me. Yes, sir. You've got to start listening. Yes, sir. Look at me. Shake pan out. Yes, sir. Shake pan out.
Coming on 5 Wellington. Yeah. 2 chicken, 1 salmon.
Jimmy, chicken coming, yes?
Yes, in my hand.
Yeah, well, I don't want it in your hand. I want it here.
Damn, Chef Ramsay's on James tonight.
Chicken, please, Jimmy.
Glad it's not me.
Chicken size and angle, please, James.
They didn't break his heart, Chef.
Jimmy, chicken, please.
Yeah, we're coming in the whole pot.
Put it down, spot. I got it. Let's go. And we're waiting on 1 salmon.
While Chef Andy helps to plate.
And 1 salmon, yes?
Yes, 1 salmon. 1 guy doing it all.
Hey, Red Team, all of you, come here.
Man, I'm done, man.
Man, I messed up.
Just touch that.
Get on garnish,
Just touch it. Just touch it. Just touch it. Now it's like bullets.
I'm done.
Tell us switch. Yeah, switch.
I ain't gonna give up, though, man.
I'm garnish, Sterling.
Are you giving up?
No, I ain't giving up, man.
Don't you dare give up.
I won't give up.
Don't you fucking
I
dare.
promise I won't give up. I promise I won't give up.
No salt, pepper. No.
Right, Lagasha, come here.
Yes, Chef.
Just take that. Okay? And here's the shit news. There's the water. What's not on there? No, well, there's not enough. Alright, I'll put more. Blah, blah. Not now, guys.
Season the salad. How simple is that?
Hey, I'm begging for the scholars. Red team, come here. All of you. All of you.
Yes, Chef.
Blue team have just sent their last table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tables still to go. 7 tables.
Come on, guys. Let's fight back. Let's push hard. Red team is struggling. We need communication and teamwork. And we need it badly.
Red team, watch your table. That's chef table, yes? Stephen Tyler. Wake up, guys, yes?
Yes, sir.
I ordered entree, one halibut or Wellington. Wellington in.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
How long do you need on the halibut?
On that halibut, I'm going to need 4 minutes. Where's that salmon? In my hand. This one right here.
No. They're overcooked.
That one right there. Hey, stop. Bring me that tray. The one from the back. Oh, no good. They're not doing 6,000. These are no good right here. What? They're all overcooked.
Frank, come with me.
And by the way,
They're all over cops. I know, you're right. I'm sorry. Here we go.
Not gonna happen again. I have another salmon. It's coming right up.
Halibut, salmon, Wellington, please.
I'm working on it.
Well, walk into the window with the halibut right now.
I'm slicing, okay?
Right here?
Now put that down.
Got shot.
Tomorrow, Jesus,
Alright, that's not right. Roll. Oh, you don't fucking care. Now we're gonna have to go to the... It's this one.
I think Frank might have lost it. Hello?
Ironically or appropriately,
Frank, what in the fuck is going on?
I don't think that guy's gonna last too long.
now legally.
You four in the red kitchen. Let's go. We're 7 tables behind. They need you. Let's go.
Hold on.
Enjoy that. I'm ready. I'm ready. 3 minutes up, man. 3 minutes. Fucking hell. I'm walking in 3 minutes, man. I'm not sorry. 3 minutes. Fuck up. 3 minutes. Whoa. Listen.
Anyway, it's not like a comedian.
Hey, Maxie, what's going on? Why would you say that when my food ain't ready, man?
Really, guys, it's not a matter of how big the cock is. They're pretty rated out.
Blue team.
So,
Two halibut,
even if
two
you
lambs.
ask them now, they
Walk
don't
with the
know
halibut.
Man, walk and they don't really mean it. Well,
Lamb.
hubris.
No answer. Lamb is 1 minute off. That's too red, sir. Oh, my God. But I got one. Red by the time I cut this. I mean, red. Come on. It's not good. Don't slice it. Don't slice it more. Put it back.
Okay, JNF writes in all the
I
story
get
tells
one
me
lamb, I get the
that
salmon
Debbie
factory done,
Washington
lamb missing, the words in the coat. What the fuck are you doing? Where's Santa? Where's the lamb?
Right down the hand,
It's the first table.
Yes, chef.
Come on, guys.
I could have sworn I heard 1 Wellington, 1 lamb. Well, apparently there was 2. Sorry about that.
Fucking wake up.
I'm fucking waking up, chef.
Fucking wake up even more. Give me a time sometimes.
3.5 out, chef.
Still 3.5.
attack in Berlin.
Hey, you two, come here, you two. You two, come here.
Approximately a day after the attack, that it was a terrorist attack, and now we learn.
I got a VIP guest from the fucking chef tank.
We talked to the Polish driver who got a passenger who was killed.
You fucking give it up, and you just lost. Get a grip.
He was talking with Pakistani, and he was in fact
Fucking wake up.
and now
Santos, who started over on their first.
they know who the culprit is. They say it's Anis Amri, who is an asylum seeker of Tunisian origin, and he became the subject of a German manhunt after his immigration documents were found inside the truck used in the Christmas market massacre. See, all these loathsome, horrible guys who do these attacks are not the brightest bulbs. He's on the run, so it's not like, he didn't mind getting caught, but he's so stupid that he left his papers in the truck. Okay, well, thank God he's that stupid. I wish that he'd have done something dumber to himself before he did this to others. Anyway, Amri's a 24-year-old man who left Tunisia years ago, and he reportedly spent time in an Italian prison for setting fire to a school. Amri has been in Germany since at least February, and though he applied for asylum, he was rejected months ago, was intended to be deported. So, Germany does have a system to check people, and it worked. They thought he shouldn't be allowed in. They were right. Now, while they are looking to ship him back, and Tunisia doesn't want him back, there is a time period where he still gets to be in Germany. But it depends on who the guy is. If he's a guy that does not have a past criminal history, that you have no reason to suspect, then, okay, I don't think that you keep that guy in a holding facility, and that's not Germany's policy. But if it's a guy like this, who does have a criminal past, and apparently there was also reports, now he wasn't convicted of these, but reports of drugs and robberies, etc. And then, Mediaite also explains, multiple reports state that Amri was deemed a risk to Germany because of ties to radical Islamic extremists. One of the investigations made into his affairs was part of a terror probe on an ISIS recruitment ring. European arrest warrants state the German police think Amri is armed and that he has a history of using at least 6 different identities with 3 different nationalities. That's exactly the kind of guy you'd want to keep in a holding cell before you figured out where to ship him back to. So, for the people who want to be humane to immigrants, especially the ones fleeing from Syria, the ones fleeing from ISIS. That's wonderful. But there's nobody who says don't do a check on them, and Germany does do checks. America does checks for 18 to 24 months. And I don't want people to get confused about what it is that people who are humane want. They don't want people that are dangerous running around. And so Germany was right to reject this guy, and given his criminal background and the questions about whether he belonged to ISIS, put him in a cell, put him in a cell. So I think that was a huge mistake in this case. It doesn't mean that all the other refugees are guilty because of what he did. But it does mean we should have taken a lot more precautions with this guy. Look, I want to put up his picture because they're looking for him right now. So our show is international, so if you're in Germany or anywhere in Europe and you see this guy, Anis Amri, he might be going by a different name, but by God, turn him in, because he killed all those poor people, 12 now dead. In the original report it was 9, but I told you in the first 24 hours, it's always bad information. 12 dead, over 50 injured. All those people who were out there getting presents for their loved ones, looking forward to giving their kids presents. And of course, guys like this, all they want is, because they're losers and they have no better life, they want some sort of glory. And in their mind, they think killing kids and killing innocent civilians is going to get them glory. It's sick, it's gross, and it's totally wrong. And so we, of course, hope the authorities catch the guy as soon as possible. And if you see him, by God, call the police, and let's try to prevent something like this from ever happening again. Okay, now we go to bunch of fakers. Okay. Recently, there was a little bit of a controversy about whether a YouTube personality who is apparently Muslim was kicked off a plane. His name is Adam Saleh. I say that because it's not true. So let's explain. Adam Saleh, who has more than 1.6 million YouTube subscribers, posted a video on Twitter that claimed that passengers complained of feeling uncomfortable after he spoke to his mom in Arabic, and he was subsequently escorted off the plane. Now, there's a thousand different problems with this story, and you could tell that there was something up. And then he writes, on Twitter, WTFFFFF, because, he's very grieved, and he starts hashtag boycott Delta. But if you look at his channel, the guy does pranks. This is the most obvious prank of all time. So why are we having a conversation about whether it's real or not? Of course it's not real. And he apparently does pranks about, being discriminated against because he's Muslim. That's not fucking funny, dude. That's really stupid. First of all, there was a real story recently about a guy who was speaking in Arabic, not to his mom, but to some other person, and he did get kicked off a plane. But now, because you're such a jackass, and you go around doing this, now everybody's going to think, all those stories are BS. And I got another one for you in a second. And then people don't believe the real stories. There's hundreds of cases of confirmed, hate speech, hate crimes, etc. against Muslims, and by the way, a whole host of other ethnicities too. Through all these different times, you know who gets attacked the most? Jews do. There's more anti-Semitic crimes than there are crimes against Muslims. So this is really serious stuff on all these different ethnicities. Taking it lightly to get a little bit of fame, it's really gross. So Delta put out a statement. Upon landing, the crew who sought to disrupt the cabin with provocative behavior, including shouting. This type of conduct is not welcome on any Delta flight, while one, according to media reports, is a known prankster who was video recorded and encouraged by his traveling companion. What is paramount to Delta is the safety and comfort of our passengers and employees. It is clear that these individuals sought to violate that priority. So it appears that Delta is totally right on this. Now, I've had a couple of reporters contact me because I was kicked off an American Airlines flight, and they said, was it because you were Muslim? And my answer is, nope, had nothing to do with it. Right now I'm agnostic. So I was born into a Muslim family, I grew up, and then I rejected all religion. But how the hell would they know that? My name is Cenk Uger, it's indecipherable. So they had no idea that I was Muslim. The real reason was because they wouldn't bring the goddamn plane, and I let them know. And I was recording them. Turns out, they didn't throw out the guy who was yelling at them the loudest. That was a different guy. And they didn't do it based on race or ethnicity because the guy who was yelling the loudest was black. Okay, so they didn't do it based on that. They did it based on who's embarrassing us. Oh, that guy recording us. There was another kid recording them. We both got kicked out. So it had nothing to do with Islam in that case. You gotta keep it real, man. This stuff is damaging. Now here's another.
They're not ready. They're 3 minutes out, guys. Please get in the chicken bed for 3 minutes out.
Police, police, the man recovered her and made sure to leave her hijab, lest he set it on fire. That's right.
Oh, come here. So Frank in the window, 2 minutes early. Just take that. Take that. Take that.
Interviews and reviewed multiple videos.
What's the one thing that's missing?
Frank,
Fuck off upstairs. Get out.
Get out. Messing up with this. I don't know. It's like a monkey. Monkey. That's not right. Hold on. This is just
Alright,
like
guys, let's go back up. Hey, one go.
Yes, chef.
some woman there crying.
Yes, chef.
Red team! Yeah! Four guys to cook probably, and one raw. One raw. Hey, do we need to change stations?
That's a good idea.
Of course.
Hell yeah! No!
To this day, it's driving me mad. You're not learning from your
In the
mistakes.
University of Michigan case, you implicate everybody that goes to Michigan. That's stupid. And in the case of the rape story at the University of Virginia, not only did you accuse those poor guys who went in that fraternity of being rapists, that's a horrible thing to say to someone when you know it isn't true, but the other thing you do is you do damage to real victims who now have less credibility because of your stupid ideas and pranks and jokes and because you wanted the spotlight. So, I know they're not going to listen because everybody's obsessed with the spotlight. Oh, I got to get famous. I got to get famous. But this is a really stupid and sick way of doing it. Young Turks.
Come on! Oh, egg again! Oh, no! Blue team! Stop! That is your best. Is it? No, is it? They deserve better. Yes, sir. All of you, come here.
Told you. Well, then you should have read the first
joke. Just touch.
No matter who cooked them, they still got my name on it because I'm on this station. Thanks, Kayla. I said they were not ready. So you shouldn't have sent them if they weren't
Just
ready.
touch.
That's why
Stop!
Damn it.
They're actually overcooked. They're rubber. Get a grip. It's got from bad to worse. You're not learning from your mistakes. Come here. Both of you.
He is fucking flipping his lid.
Sit down. Enjoy your scallops. Service, John.
Not a good feeling. I feel like I was sitting at the kids' table. I'll retire.
2 nice glasses, 7-year blanc for the Saint-Jacques, please, quickly.
Kaylin, I mean, this is your fault. You failed.
Eat them.
Beat him. Why did I take them up there? Chef.
Go, please. On order. 2 mussels, 2 beef salad, entree, 2 pork, 3 lamb.
All I can think about is getting back on my station and cooking those scallops correctly. Drink a wine. Oh.
While Kaylin and Roe swallow their mistakes.
Chef, can we please come back, Chef? Chef, please. Oh my God. Freaking lose it, man.
Hey, Booty, come here. Halibut is cooked beautifully. Good job.
Thank you,
Thank you, Chef. You didn't fucking cook it. Why are you saying thank you?
Because we're team.
What's funny?
Nothing, Chef.
Let me tell you something. The pork is fucking raw. Oh, it's back together in the oven.
Oh man, really? I just put love into that thing.
Say how long?
1 minute, Chef.
Chef, level 20 VIP salmon overcooked.
Blue team.
Yes, Chef.
VIP, Los Angeles Star. Salmon overcooked. Dry. Dry.
Are you kidding me? We couldn't get their shit together. Salmon only holds for so long before it would poof. It's not my fault.
You two are fucking around, and you two have lost the concentration.
The fish station is suffering because of the meat station. These guys are going to get kicked out of the kitchen. Santos needs to pay attention.
Let's go, refire your salmon urgently.
Yes, right now, Chef. In my hands.
While the blue team bobbles the Los Angeles Sparks table.
Right now, I'd like to slam dunk all of you. This is a joke. Blue team. Yeah, Chef. All of you, come here. Just touch that.
I feel like I'm helping send a message out. That's really satisfying. And of course the people here. It's just awesome working here.
I deserve an answer. I wish I could give you an answer, Chef. Aaron, sounds bad.
All day, every day. Y'all gotta calm down. You know, just relax.
Come on, Aaron! I like to see that. No, wait. Stop. Hey. Wrong one. That's not the right one. I grabbed it from the wrong side. Look at that. Come on. Look at that. That's the state of where you are. There you go, look. Why would you bring that up, dude? I want to play the blame game. Like, how do you do that to somebody? There you go. Come on, why would you bring that up? I'm overcooked. Fuck you. Dumbwits. Fuck off, really. Aaron! He's giving up this one. He needs fucking help there.
You need more sauce. It doesn't need to be more saucy. It just needs to coat the fucking pasta. It's like, guys, get the fuck off. Too many hands, not enough pans.
Aaron, right here behind you. I got you. What do you need, brother? What do you need?
I don't. What do you need, Aaron? I don't. Steve, go away. I got Steve, like, trying to fucking push it on the station. Steve, get off the station. Steve, go away. Go.
Aaron, you fucking put your hands on me. I'm about to knock you the fuck out right now. Hey, fuckface. Hey,
Yes, Chef.
fucking come here. How long are you going to keep all back? Get it together.
Yes, Chef.
Because this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing.
Behind. Tag. In the middle.
Look at me.
Yes, Chef.
Stand there in silence and say fuck all. Next time I'm just going to kick you out.
Yes, Chef.
Yeah, you're fucking running behind. Who should be telling?
Everybody, Chef.
They won't fucking say to me.
Yes, Chef.
Send that, James. The Thailand console. Two glossy calamari are raw, lack of flavor. Raw calamari. Fuck you, man. Unbelievable. All of you! Stop! Yeah, all of you! Have I got news for you? Raw fucking calamari. Touch them. Raw. Yeah. Raw.
Ashley, what is happening? Undercooked? Seriously?
That's the way Italians constantly say. What is going on? What in the fuck is going on? Any ideas now? All of you get out. I know. Just leave me alone. Get out. Get fucking out.
Again?
Fuck you. Get out.
Steve retired and they actually started covering the news. You guys feel
What I've seen so far, the Raider team is out.
It's just ridiculous.
You haven't disclosed anything.
I'll stick it. Come on, guys. Move.
Based on,
She's walking, okay?
what we talked about
Around.
I feel like
Here we go. Story of the night. Take a telly. Give me a fucking time, you.
30 seconds, Chef.
30 seconds.
I don't hear any more yelling over there at Red Team, which means the girls just got kicked out, so we have to close the service down.
Behind you, Tag.
A lot of it says, just because someone pranks on
Oh my
you
God.
doesn't mean they can be discriminated against.
That's a story.
At the same time, very,
Happy now?
very
Yes, sir. Yeah. Okay, you start slow. He sends raw
if you're
food.
a prankster,
Clear down.
and some
Road
one time
station.
it actually
Rosanna.
does happen.
Hey, bro. Stand back.
Appears to be going up in flames.
Fucking stand back.
Your whole job
Jesus
is
Christ.
to make a prank. And why do people have to have a reaction?
Walking
They go,
down, yeah.
Come on, bro. 10 seconds. I'm sending that risotto back.
I totally agree. I want to send a raw sales test story, but yeah, look, I worry because those are serious incidents that should be taken seriously. And if someone
It's
does
all in the
use it
center.
for a prank to get attention,
Fucking wake up.
makes me very
Both of you.
Really, I just want to fucking punch her in the face. I don't even want to say anything. I really just want to knock her on her ass.
Yes, sir. Bro.
What we got was
Yes, sir.
someone seems to be showing a little bit
Go.
this side. Anyway,
So,
Jeff
you need
Walker
more
says
salt,
the
pepper,
most
you need
popular
more-
news piece
I
out
got
of
it. You get a grip with your
you
fucking
have
seasoning.
It's very right. And I'm a different Hernandez says,
Who owns the two chickens?
some of the best things.
Really?
Country people with bear. Doesn't matter if it's yeah, the more you're going to go after the year, for the year, you also
No safety in there, guys. Hey, come here, man. Come here. Come here.
I said,
Hey.
yeah, I mean, Marita, it's like
Taste it. Taste it. Just taste it. That's what I'm getting at the moment. Black, 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 black. Black, 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 black. I don't know why. Today, can't put the ticket. I've got 2 single lamb on the road. I can't.
Never sounds like you're saying heavenly things. It always sounds like you're saying heavenly.
So now, my perfectly cooked lamb has to die because you don't have furnish? Give me a break.
Bro,
Walk each other. Right.
Ivanka Trump was harassed by a man on the same jet flight that they were booked on. Now, Ivanka Trump was with her husband, also with her children, traveling to New York City, or actually to New York City. And at that point, a man allegedly came up to her and started harassing her. Now, the person who kind of outed the harassment in the beginning was this unidentified man's partner who tweeted about it. So let's take a quick look at graphic 4. He had tweeted and then deleted, Ivanka and Jared at JFK Terminal 5, flying commercial, my husband chasing them down to harass them. He then later also tweeted and deleted, Ivanka and Jared on our flight, my husband expressed displeasure in a calm tone. JetBlue staff overheard and they kicked us off the plane. Now, he allegedly said the following, the man who went after Ivanka and her husband, your father is ruining the country. Why is she on our flight? She should be flying private. Everybody needs to calm down and not get into one another's faces about anything. About politics, if you disagree with someone, don't harass them, don't bother them. You know, she's there with her kids, she's there with her family. If you disagree with the politics, I hear you. Be politically active in a more productive way. Harassing her on a flight isn't going to help.
I have a tiny bit of mixed feelings about this.
I don't.
Okay, so let's lay it out. I didn't know they had the kid with them. Don't do that if there's kids around. Okay. Second of all, how you do it, I think, is monumentally important. So I'll give you an example. We talked about this in the past in old school. Dave and I were on a flight. Dave Kohler's one of the founders of TYT, and he saw a Bush administration official, and he said to him as he was walking by him in the plane, the Bush guy was in first class. We were in coach, of course. And he's like, "You're full of shit." Then moved on. Okay, and he said, I think he also said something about how his administration did great harm or something, right? And so this is a Dave Kohler line, and I might have been like, "Yeah, me too." Now, it's super important to be calm. Don't yell at people, especially on a plane. Yeah, you'll get kicked off. And it's too personal. It's too aggressive. What if it breaks into violence? You don't want anything like that. Not at all. Okay. Second of all, move on. Right? You want to make a point. You see somebody in an airport. Sometimes people come up to me and say great things, bless their hearts. And sometimes they say, God, some other guy was like, I was walking in New York, and some guy's like, hey, Young Turk, suck it, Donald Ward, Okay, I don't give a shit.
That's hilarious, actually.
It's kind of funny, right? So, don't stick around and create a confrontation. But the problem is, Anna, you're right, that nobody knows where the goddamn line is, right?
No, things have definitely gone way too far. So, look, I don't agree with Donald Trump's politics. I think I've been pretty clear about that. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you disagree with someone's politics. You don't confront them in a seemingly violent way. And look, his partner denies that it was violent.
But no one is charging anything physically.
No. There was no physical harm whatsoever. There wasn't even an attempt to touch her or anything like that. It was all spoken word. That's it. But nonetheless, it's still a weird, hostile situation. Mm-hmm. She's, again, on a plane, kind of a captive audience with her family, and you don't want to create a situation where people just don't want to be out in public because they're going to be paranoid constantly. And I'm saying that from personal experience, right? Yeah. So I feel like I can't sit here and be angry about certain things that we experienced this year when, someone has a different political opinion and is also experiencing it. She deserves the same type of protection that anyone else does.
Yeah. So the reason he did hashtag banality of evil is because, it's a reference to the Germans and don't let them normalize the terrible things that they're doing. But look, I'm not in the camp of, give Donald a chance because you don't know what he's going to do yet. No, but we know who his cabinet is. We already know that he's trying to enrich himself through the meetings with foreign leaders. It's not like there's no evidence. At the same time, he hasn't invaded anybody yet. He hasn't done a drone strike on anybody yet.
And he's not the same person as Ivanka Trump. He's not, right? Like, we actually don't know enough about what Ivanka Trump thinks of her father and some of his rhetoric and what he plans on doing or his cabinet. Ivanka Trump seems to be a little more liberal than Donald Trump is.
Yeah, I mean, and Kushner's there too, her husband, of course. So, they're probably, among those basket of deplorables, the best of the lot, right? So I don't want them to lose their power because then the guys that are going to take their place are even worse. Mm-hmm. But, like, in our example, with the Bush administration guys, they had launched the war. Hundreds of thousands of people had died. A lot of our troops had died. They'd already done untold damage. I think I'm allowed to say in passing, you're full of shit. And you did great harm to this country, right? Mm-hmm. So I hope you can find where the line is. But like you say, Anna, I'm worried that a lot of people don't know where that line is at all. And then next thing you know, you're going to get kicked off a flight. And by the way, their worst critique was, why is she on a public airplane? That's a good thing, isn't it? That she's not flying private. And
it didn't even look like she was sitting in first class, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, I think those are wider seats. Are
they?
Me? Yeah, like coach is so narrow now that those seats seem like lavish by comparison. No? You think that's regular?
It looks because all the seats behind them look exactly the same. That's why it looks like she's in a regular. I don't know.
She's in the middle in a coach flight. You got to give her credit for that.
Yeah, I actually do give her credit for that.
Okay.
You go get.
By the way, we have a JetBlue expert, Edwin, our stage manager, also works at JetBlue. So
regular
seat.
It's been confirmed.
It's confirmed.
Yeah.
Okay. So wait till they actually do something before you yell at them a little bit and move on. That's my policy. Mm-hmm. Anna says don't do it because you never know what it's going to lead to, and it's generally a bad idea. Fair enough.
Yes. All right, moving on. The Washington Post continues to gather data involving officer shootings, and cop-involved shootings, of course, continue to be a problem in the United States. It's not a black and white issue. There are some cases where it's justified, other cases where it's not. Now, in the last year, there have been hundreds of shootings involving police officials, but what's more troublesome is when you consider the number of people who have died because they were holding either toy guns or replica guns. Now, this is not meant to demonize cops because the reality is a lot of these guns look like, or a lot of these toy guns look like real guns, and cops feel terrible after the shooting happens. Now, according to the data that the Washington Post gathered, at least 86 people over the past 2 years were killed in these encounters. Now, there were a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different situations, and so it's hard to pinpoint whether or not this was a right situation or a wrong situation, but the Washington Post does note that mental illness was a common theme. White men were the majority of victims, and the calls included domestic disturbances, robberies, and neighborhood patrols. Now, to break down the numbers even further so you know exactly what type of replica or toy gun was involved, about 53 were BB or pellet guns, 16 were airsoft guns, and 13 were replicas. And I think the most interesting part of this story is the fact that, yes, these toy guns, these non-lethal weapons look very realistic, and so why wouldn't we pass some sort of regulation to ensure that they're very clearly marked and no cop is ever confused about whether or not it's a real gun? Well, apparently politicians have been trying to deal with the situation, and miraculously the NRA is against it. Why? These are replica and toy guns. Why can't we make them look as unrealistic as possible?
You know, I have a theory on that. Because the NRA doesn't think gun violence is the bug. They think it's the feature. Because the more there's gun violence, the more scared people are, and the more guns that they buy. Because otherwise, this stance of theirs is inexplicable. Why would you want, and a lot of the people who have toy guns are kids. Why would you want kids getting shot by guns, and it makes guns look bad? The only reason, look, maybe there's another reason, and you got a theory on it, that's fine. But my theory is, and you could trace it, any NRA position to this, is very simple. They mainly funded by gun manufacturers donating to the NRA. So every position they hold is to the benefit of gun manufacturers. So in this case, the more that people hear in the news, oh my God, somebody got shot, they think, oh no, I need a gun to protect myself.
Yeah, I mean, look, that environment of paranoia certainly leads people to want to go out and purchase guns. And so I understand that strategy, and it's worked really, really well. But at the same time, you have innocent people, or in some cases, mentally disturbed people, playing with a toy gun, using a replica gun, and it leads to a lot of confusion for cops. And, I was reading about this story involving one cop who he shot and killed a young man who had a replica gun. And after it happened and he realized that it wasn't a real gun, the cop felt horrible. And you can't blame him because he had no idea, right? It wasn't a Tamir Rice situation where he showed up and shot the guy in 2 seconds, right? Mm-hmm. And so you want to do this to protect humans, but also ensure that cops don't go through PTSD because they shot and killed someone who wasn't really armed.
Yeah, somebody told me, quick aside here, the other day, a great point about how humans are built, and it was actually really optimistic. So nobody ever gets PTSD from doing something decent to someone else, or nobody ever gets PTSD from hugging someone else. Yeah. You get PTSD from doing the wrong thing. And so we're hardwired to think killing someone else is the wrong thing. That's why some of the folks get PTSD because they were in battle and they took an IED and that shook them. And some people get PTSD from killing someone else, even if it was justified, because we're not built for that. We're built to be decent. And so let's be a little bit more decent to each other. In this case, it's kind of a layup. Yeah, you put something at the end of the gun to make it sure that you realize it's a toy gun. Toy gun doesn't have to be that realistic. I'm never going to let... Look, fair is fair. When I was a kid, I had a lot of toy guns, okay? But I'm not going to let my son have a gun. The reason is it's different times. And
absolutely.
And in this country, there's so many guns, not just by the cops, but by your neighbors, etc. You don't want any misunderstandings. And it happens all the time. 86 times in the last 2 years alone. It's amazing. So, and by the way, majority white males, but the country is more white, of course, but still positive in only that, not that whites are getting shot. That's terrible. It's in that there is not as much discrimination there in a disproportionate way as we've seen in other stories. So that's not the issue here. The issue is you've got cops who are coming in. They can't. Everybody in the country has guns. That looks like a gun. And a lot of times when someone is mentally ill, they don't listen to orders for understandable reasons, and the cop is worried. And after a while, if they turn around and point the toy gun at him, they shoot him. And so one way to avoid that is to make the toy guns clearer, right? The second thing is, in some of the cases, show a little bit more restraint. So whether it was John Crawford in Walmart, who was shot in 2 seconds, the whole thing took 6 seconds, but the first shot was fired in 2 seconds.
Right, the Tamir Rice case.
Tamir Rice shot in 2 seconds. They both had toy guns. One had picked up a toy rifle from Walmart, and he was in the Walmart. Just from a different aisle, but in that case, he happened to be black, and they shot him without asking any questions. In Tamir Rice's case, he was a 12-year-old black kid in Cleveland at a park playing with a toy gun. They didn't ask him questions. So the other thing you could do is just give it a sec. Like in the case of Tamir Rice, the cops pulled right up to him. You could have pulled up to the curb instead of the grass. Get behind your car, get in position, and then ask him. And he would have told you it was a toy gun.
Yeah.
So there's 2 different ways to combat.
Yeah, and I want to be clear about something. As it was clear, 86 cases of people who didn't have real guns getting shot and killed by cops. Based on, the descriptions of these stories that I read, they weren't cases like that. They kept repeatedly asking the person to drop the gun, comply. They wouldn't. And then the cop thought that he or she was in imminent harm, and that's why they fired their weapon. So,
every case is different, and so, that's why we got to attack it from both sides.
Exactly. All right. Less than 2 weeks before the general election, there was a church in Mississippi that was set on fire. Now, a lot of attention was paid to the situation because of the fact that someone had spray painted "Vote Trump" on the building. Now, the damage was so bad that they couldn't salvage the building. They're going to have to tear it down and rebuild it. But now we know who set the church on fire. It was a man by the name of Andrew McClinton from Greenville, Mississippi. And apparently he is one of the parishioners at the church.
So this story has a couple of twists, right? So I remember when we covered this story in the first place, we were enraged by it. And of course, this church has been around over 100 years, and there's a great history of black churches being attacked and burnt down, and it's horrific. Sometimes there's bombings that happen inside the church. 4 young kids being killed in Alabama during the civil rights era, etc. So when you see something like this, it looks like an act of terrorism, right? So now, you let the authorities look into it. It turns out it wasn't somebody from the outside. It was actually a parishioner.
Yes.
And it doesn't appear to be racial because the church is black and the parishioner is black, right? So that's twist number one. And that happens from time to time for a number of different reasons, right? And then the second twist is he won't vote Trump, yet they think it might not have been political.
Yeah.
That's weird. And then the third twist is he might have meant it. He liked Trump's Facebook page and might have been a Trump supporter.
Yeah, so right now, there's very little that we know in terms of his motives, right? So at first, when I read the headline, I thought, oh, so he's just trying to frame Trump supporters, which is a disgusting thing to do. You don't frame people like that. I don't care what your political, ideology is. Especially
what
this
if
way, right?
Inside the church, let alone the fact that don't burn down the church.
Yeah, so I got angry, and then I read into it a little further, and I realized, well, there's a lot that we don't know. First of all, the officials are the ones who came out and said that this is not politically motivated. Okay, so they know more than we do, so we'll see how this plays out.
Maybe
but
the
another
guy
thing,
is touched, right?
Well, he's been in trouble with the law countless times before, for robbery, and I'll give you a list of that in just a minute. But I also want to be clear that just because he liked Donald Trump's page on Facebook doesn't mean that he's a Donald Trump fan. It's a possibility. Now, he only liked a handful of pages on Facebook, Donald Trump's, and then some Christian pages. But that was it.
So, and let me be further clear about the two Trump things. First of all, I follow Donald Trump on Twitter, so I get his absurd, insane tweets and laugh all day long. Okay, that doesn't mean I like Donald Trump, so super fair point on that. Although I don't like his Facebook page, and maybe he's a news junkie, who knows, right? Mm-hmm. Second of all, following someone doesn't mean you agree with them or they agree with you. This has nothing to do with Trump. So Trump didn't ask this guy to burn down a church. It's not on him at all, right? And yeah, it seemed to us that it was right before the election, so it's the kind of thing that either a Trump supporter would do to intimidate African Americans, or a guy like this, you think, who's a parishioner in that church, might do it to motivate African Americans to vote. Look at what they're doing to you, right? Mm-hmm. But maybe because he has a track record of stealing things, maybe he stole something from the church but burned it down to cover it up and writes vote Trump to make it seem like it's political. Maybe he's crazy. Maybe, so let the authorities sort that out. But it doesn't make it any better that it was a parishioner. You could argue that it makes it worse.
No, it makes it, yeah. I mean, look, it's terrible regardless. But I am curious to see why he did this, and hopefully the story develops and we'll fill you in on it.
Yep.
All right. Why don't we take a break?
We're going to take a quick break. That's what we're going to do. Let's see if we got the 390. TYTnetwork.com/go. And then, are dogs your children?
You love the story. You love the story.
When we come. Hey, what's up? Aaron, what do you like better? The Ravens or the Ravens? Go. I do a whole bunch of stuff behind the scenes. My name is Dave. I'm going to tell you some amazing facts. There was one woman in the elevator who was wide open, and here I am.
now scrambling to repair it. Okay. Oh, you got a great relationship. Joy.
Okay, fine. We'll do your budget. It's gonna be a nice fucking middle finger to that.
You especially are so troopy, more boring, less handsome version of that.
Only so many ways you can cook a steak, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you want some fucking tuna.
Maybe edit that. I thought it was a little embarrassing, but if people like it, I'll do it.
Who is hotter? Jen is macho.
There aren't going to be rose petals on the side of the runner. Why am I there?
It was the best Valentine's Day I've ever had.
How could someone not be trimmed?
I don't know how you say it.
Thanks for being members of the In Case It Was Me in this post-game show. Alright, back on the Young Turks, hanging out with you guys. $388,668. Very close to 390. So we just shout. Okay, let's do it. Okay, members of the day are Joe Zayak and Christian Marachicho.
Ooh, Marachicho.
Okay.
I like that name.
Joe Zayak. I have a very good friend, Jason's agent. Sounds similar. Anyways, thank you guys. You make the show run. We're doing this drive now to hire these reporters, but the members are what sustain us through all the time. So, TYTnetwork.com/join to become a member. That's super important. And you get the post games. Yesterday, I think we had a good one.
Yeah, we're gonna have a really good one today.
Look up. That was from yesterday's post game. Okay.
Yeah.
What's today's?
Strike back on a troll.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like serious strike back on a troll. You don't want to miss it.
Okay, wow, that's pretty good. I know you're right. I don't want to miss it. I really want to find out because I don't know the story. TYTnetwork.com/join. By the way, with the TYT Classics, we don't give it enough hype. We show all TYT clips. That's just for the members, and then we comment on them. You love those. Love them. Okay. Brandon Neal writes in, gonna side with Anna on this one. Disagreeing is fine. Badgering publicly is not. While Slice writes in, they should have thanked her for flying commercial for the sake of the environment. You don't have to thank her. Okay, it's going too far.
I didn't even think about that. I love our audience.
Keith Simon says, toy guns are the candy cigarettes of the NRA. It's what gets kids started. Oh.
Dude, those candy cigarettes, though. Like, I used to buy those from the ice cream truck all the time. I'm like, them. Yeah, I'm like, look, people blow on them, and then, like, the powdered sugar comes out.
So fucking tricky. They really are. Jack McAnally doubles down on that. Why do they want kids to have toy guns? To make guns cool. Seems obvious. Yeah, I think I missed that. That's probably the largest reason why.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So did I.
You guys got it right. All right, let's go for it.
All right. One Canadian judge had some strong words for a divorcing couple where one party wanted to seek full custody of their 3 dogs. Now, this is an interesting case because dogs, of course, by law, are simply property. They're property here in the United States. They're listed as property in countries like Canada. But they're different from, let's say, a house or a car or clothing, right? There's an emotional attachment to it because it's a living thing that has a certain level of intelligence and personality and characteristics. Now, in this case, interestingly enough, the case landed in court after the wife argued that she should keep their 3 dogs while allowing for visitation rights of an hour and a half at a time to her soon-to-be ex-husband. Now, the judge started his 15-page ruling in a very nice way, very understanding way. Like, look, I get it. Dogs are intelligent. They're loving. People have a very close emotional connection to their pets. And so I get it. But then he continues. After all is said and done, a dog is a dog. At law, it is property. A domesticated animal that is owned. At law, it enjoys no familial rights.
But wait a minute.
Animals are innocent.
They are. Oh my God, animals are the best. Charlie. Okay, so let me give you more. He says, I say without reservation that the prospect of treating pets as children would be treated would be treated holds absolutely no attraction for me. My present task is not to act with emotion or to validate the personal perspective of pet owners within the legal context. Rather, it is to interpret and then apply the law. And for legal purposes, there can be no doubt dogs are property. So, look, I agree with him. That is the law. But things are changing, right? So, decades ago, animal cruelty wasn't a thing, right? It was a misdemeanor. Now it's a felony, and people spend a considerable amount of time in prison if they're convicted of severe animal cruelty. Michael Vick is an example of that. But I do see more and more people breaking up and then kind of fighting over who's going to keep the dog. And interestingly enough, there's someone who lives in my apartment complex who shares custody of a dog that he had with his ex-boyfriend. So I do find it interesting, and who knows how laws will evolve in the future to kind of deal with this.
Yeah. You dog lovers. What are we going to do with you? Okay, so are we going to have to come up with a whole new set of laws for pets and animals? And the answer might be yes. So right now, the judge is right. They're just treated as property. Cut them in half and give one to each, half to each. Don't be Solomon.
Yeah.
Okay. So he doesn't have a choice. But should they be treated a little differently? I guess, right? Because, come on, they're not property. And at the same time, they're not humans. So it annoys me. I'm like the judge. It annoys me when people are like, no, just as valuable as a human. No, not really. Okay? But at the same time, they're not the same as a chair. Come on, that's super obvious. And it's also super obvious that people have enormous emotional attachment to them. And even if you don't care about the dog or the particular animal, you should care about that emotional attachment that the human has.
Yeah, look, I agree with you that a dog doesn't have the same value as a human, right? I think in a lot of cases a dog is more valuable than most humans that I've interacted with. But
you know why you think that? I'm not joking when I say...
I'm not joking
animals
when I say that.
are innocent.
Yes, exactly. So, by the way, look, I get it. Human lives are important, okay? But...
Begrudgingly.
No, the reason why I say that is because there are so many insanely cruel people out there, right? And so you see the cruelty of humans day in and day out. But when it comes to your dog, I mean, you think about how innocent they are, right? And how sweet they are and how much love you feel from them and how much of a connection you have with them. That's the reason why it seems as though a lot of people value dogs over humans. Now, I'm not saying that's right, but I understand that perspective, right? So do I value my dog over certain people that we were confronted with at the RNC? Absolutely. If I had to choose between the two, would I choose? Absolutely.
No, Doug.
Yeah.
So let's just be clear about that. But at the same time, there needs to be an evolution in our laws to deal with it. So when people do break up, you figure out how you handle it.
It makes you want to fight
More
harder.
important than chocolate, I would
Yes,
say.
Yeah, look, you're not going to get me to buy into this like some dogs are better.
Not want to lose.
Okay,
What's going, Nick? What's going?
I think that I'm focused on animals. Because people think animals can't have bad intent, and humans have bad intent, so it's easy for me to love the dog. But you did something wrong. Remember, Hannah, it's easy for us to say that about Dick Cheney or someone else, but then others will say, yeah, but that guy smoked pot, so he had bad intent. That guy killed, so he had bad intent.
No.
And they value their pets over more than actual human beings. So
I know.
I'm not buying
But hold on. I'm not making an argument about the death penalty and you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying we should allow one to die and one to live. That's not what this conversation is about. This is about humans and their value system and what they value and what they prioritize in their lives, right? And so, in some cases, some humans prioritize their pets more than certain human beings.
Yeah, we just got to get realistic about it. I think we'll all agree on this case.
Yeah.
So the judge's hands are bound, but maybe it's annoying, but legislators got to get busy coming up with laws that fit our reality. In the old days, maybe animals didn't. We humans didn't care about the animals as much, and so there'd be stray dogs, stray cats, etc. I mean, still, we eat the hell out of animals.
We eat the hell out of a lot of highly intelligent animals.
Yeah, we do, and so it's not easy, but they are sentient creatures. They're clearly not the same as non-life forms. So we've got to create a new category for animals. And so I think vegans make unfortunately good cases. I am nowhere near a vegan, and I eat a lot of animals, and I think people know that. Okay. The other day I had Brazilian, like 8 different kinds of meats. Oh, so good. So now some liberals are getting super mad at me. They're writing at me on Twitter that I'm an animal hater. I'm not an animal hater. I grew up in this context, and I don't think animals are the same as humans. I'm a humanist. Okay, guilty as charged. At the same time, the other extreme is just as wrong. To say that animals are the same thing as a rock is totally not correct. And it's obviously not correct.
Right. And by the way, in certain states, animals can be like beneficiaries to, your accounts. Also, in a few rare instances, some animals have been assigned lawyers, which sounds crazy, but
yeah, that's the stuff that drives me crazy. When like super rich ladies leave like, half of their estate, $200 million to a fucking cat. Okay, leave it to a charity or something, for Christ's sake. It's not human. It doesn't know what to do with the fucking money. Okay. All right.
A man in Washington State is facing some charges after he allegedly posed as a woman who works in the entertainment industry and attempted to, and in a lot of cases was successful in recruiting women to pose nude and have sex with him. He never attempted to cast them in anything. He has no ties to the entertainment industry. He just watched casting couch porn and then decided to carry it out himself. Now, this is Michael John Matthew Hickey, and according to reports, he allegedly carried out a scheme in which he posed as a woman and claimed to run a Seattle talent agency that could connect women to high-paying jobs in the adult entertainment industry. The district attorney in this case, the state attorney in this case, said that this is one of the most egregious scams I've seen as attorney general. Beyond the monetary damage the victim suffered pursuing the defendant's fictional job opportunities, they endured emotional trauma and unconscionable loss of privacy through deception. So he would look for women between the ages of 17 and 25, and he would tell them, you're going to make a lot of money, right? And so he would say that they would make $12,000 to $3,500 a day. They just have to meet with a casting agent. They would show up, and
Alright, stop. Overcooked, because the fucking pan is not hot enough. It has to be really hot. You have to have 30 seconds inside.
Okay. So they were willing to take naked pictures.
Yes, sir.
But he just didn't put the naked pictures up.
Like our 11, 12 dinner service?
no, that's
And
not.
he still doesn't know how to cook salmon?
Okay, so he,
What the fuck, Allison?
first of all, he lied. Fraud. He told them that he's a woman who owns this adult entertainment industry. He's recruiting women, right? She's recruiting women. It's not a she, it's actually a he. And then the women were told to meet with the guy, and then he has sex with them for the audition, and that he's going to use those audition tapes and those nude photos to get them jobs in the entertainment industry. That's not what he did.
I understand it's fraud. I'm not condoning it. It's clearly wrong. But they say, if I was going to get a job out of this, I'm perfectly fine and happy to do it. It turns out I didn't get a job out of it, so I am horrified at what happened. You see what I'm saying? There's a little bit of a disconnect there. You get to be pissed about what happened. Horrified, I don't know. You're just mad you didn't get paid for it. Because you sign up for, I want to have sex on camera. Yes, I'm willing to have sex on camera with you. Yes, I did it. And then, but you didn't put it out there and give me the money for it. It's okay, let's put it this way. And again, I'm sure people are going to get mad at me, and maybe I'm wrong in some ways. But, okay, I sign up to do some hard work, shovel the drive. That's not how it works, but whatever it is, right? And a guy says, are you willing to do this? I go do it, and then he doesn't pay me. Yeah, I'm pissed he didn't pay me, right?
I know.
But I'm not pissed that I did the shoveling or the hard work, because I signed up for that. I'm just mad that he didn't pay me.
I know, but you're equating shoveling dirt to one of the most intimate things that people can do, right?
But I know,
so here's this pervy guy who now has videos and pictures of these unwitting women, right? And so,
but that's what I'm saying. They're not exactly unwitting.
I think they are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So he preyed on them. He exploited them. He lied to them, and so. Yeah, he should face charges, and it seems like right now, I mean, they're not really laying down the law. They're just telling him, hey, you need to stop your so-called business, and maybe he'll face some fraud charges in the future. But this is exploitation. This is not shoveling dirt. It goes further than that.
Yeah, I understand, and I know people are going to get mad, but I'm not saying there shouldn't be any consequences. I'm not just saying it's hunky-dory and he should keep on doing it. He's lying to those people, and he's committing fraud. So I'm against it, but it's not as egregious as some of the other stories that we've covered, because they were happy to do that as long as they received compensation for it. Mm-hmm. And when they found out they're not going to receive compensation, that's when they were super mad. So you're perfectly within your rights to get mad at compensation, and it is a very intimate act, so it's kind of a strange situation, but they were happy to do that intimate act as long as they were getting paid for it.
Yeah, look, I think that they felt violated because, again, he exploited them for sex. Like, that, it's different, because it's, when a woman has sex, when anyone has sex, man or woman, you want to have sex on your terms, right? And so, in order to consent to sex, the terms have to be laid out there. I'm not saying, like, are we going to have sex? Is it okay to have sex? That's not what I mean. I'm saying, based on conversation, like
that it's real consent.
That it's real consent. In this case, it wasn't real consent because they were lied to.
And that's why I'm saying, that it's a little grayer in this case, right? Because do guys lie to women to have sex with them? Almost, I don't want to say almost all the time, but certainly plenty of times. Is that illegal? It's nowhere near illegal. Oh, I have a great job. Turns out he doesn't have a great job. I'm this, I'm that. I'm a professional hockey player.
I know, but that's not promising them something for the sex. You see what I'm saying?
No,
like we all lie in one way or another when it comes to relationships and sex and all that stuff, right? But it's different when you're lying to someone and promising something in exchange for the sex. And then you find out that it was fraudulent, it was to exploit, it was to take advantage. Like, it's definitely...
Yeah, that's why it's an interesting story.
Yeah.
Like, for example, you certainly can't rape a prostitute just because she's a prostitute and then say, well, I'm just not paying you. No, that's rape. Okay, so it's a complicated and tough question when it involves something this intimate and private and the need for consent, which is obviously understandable and part of the law. So, interesting question at hand there. Very curious to see how it's going to get resolved.
Yep. All right, one final story for you guys. Students in the United States are having a more difficult time getting accepted in the top colleges because of the fact that a lot of Ivy League schools are now turning to foreign students in order to diversify their campuses. At least that's what they claim they're doing. Now, the tension is particularly evident at the 8 prestigious Ivy League schools. Federal data shows that their freshman classes grew slightly from 2004 to 2014, 5%, while the number of incoming foreign students rose 46%. At the same time, applications to the schools shot up 88%. Okay, so I'm going to get into specific schools and their numbers, but it isn't just Ivy League schools that are doing this. A lot of public universities also do it because you make a lot more money in tuition by accepting students who are either from out of state or, in this case, from a different country, because they don't qualify for the same types of federal aid, money, or scholarships, things like that.
For example, university is a great school, and so
the women hurry to deliver their first appetizers to the pass.
Where's the shrimp coming right to the pass?
Where's the story about how they're getting more
right now. I got it.
They pay so much.
One item is missing.
We don't want that. I mean, I want other kids from other states to be able to go. That's why I applied. But it is for to be affordable for the students in that state. That's the whole point. Ivy League is a little different. They're private. They can do whatever they want. But at the same time, you become a factory for money.
I read
That's the point of grading.
Come here.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about Yale. At
Look,
Yale,
look at the difference.
30,000 applicants were accepted. The foreign share of the freshman class has actually grown from single digits to 11%. As Yale's undergraduate enrollment has edged upwards since 2004, foreigners have accounted for almost all of the growth. So the international share of freshmen at Georgetown rose from 3% in 2004 to 11%. A lot more. Similar numbers to Yale. Now, there were about 427,000 international graduates at U.S. colleges and universities from the 2015-2016 school year, according to the IIT. That was up 79% from over a decade ago.
In the fuck is going on? Oh, it's getting crazy in there.
So,
fucking God says.
I want to get on the same page. No,
I need to do
that's fantastic.
Oh my God. Don't turn it up.
Success, job. Hopefully they stay here, they grow our economy, and we get great.
Okay, that's right. I apologize.
On the other hand, even our churches who are making more and more money, we're crowding out Americans to get into the school. Well, that's not me. That's why I don't think it's coming right off. You don't want to say, oh, no immigrants in schools. No, you want to have people come in from across the world, and that's wonderful. That's exactly kind of immigration.
Look, my right.
So, everybody's obsessed with money. And so there's great schools. They have such Adam, but I'll make them fuck up. It's okay. So we're now going to always be
Look at it. It's like a fucking car. What was supposed to
Honestly, one of the biggest problems is how obsessed they are with ranking in U.S. uniform. And so, there's always this question of why tuition is rising. And one of the big problems is that they want to compete with one another, and so they keep building and building and building. They have to have the newest and the greatest and the best, right? And that's how you attract the best and the best from universities. That drives up the cost of tuition for a lot of students. And look, when it comes to private schools, you can't get in there with regulation and tell them, like, no, you're not allowed to accept, X amount of foreign
anything
other than but when it comes to public schools, that's where I feel like we need to draw the line.
That type of person,
right? Because here's what's happening, okay? Our taxpayer money goes towards the schools. And so I want our citizens to get practical treatment in terms of getting accepted into those schools.
Yeah, I just think you don't have to be native about it, but what you can do is have the rate of growth of American students and foreign students be roughly similar. So you don't have to have all the growth going to immigrant students because they're not doing another good use of all of them. I think we could improve it.
They're not done.
Yeah, more expensive. Right now, they want the money, LaBelle.
Yeah, they want the money.
Both sides.
Coming right now.
And I gotta make one more point, because this is important. Look, one of the reasons why a lot of these public schools go ahead and take more students from out of state, or foreign students, is again because of the increased tuition. But they're dealing with budget shortfalls, they're dealing with states cutting their funding, and they're trying to make up for that. The way they do it, again, is by taking students from other places.
Oh my God.
You gotta solve that.
Be honest, I swear.
Dude, I'm doing a countdown for 4 minutes. You don't fuck out for 4 minutes? How much in service do you actually remember?
Undergraduate graduate schools.
How long do you need?
Chris is jumping at 3 fire. I'm recovering. There's no this.
My faculty. You can hire journalists and young people with that 5 minutes.
Hang on, guys.
Hello. He's an investigative reporter for Watchers on the Wall.
The press is fine. The next page, that's on the next minute.
I love education. They have plenty of money to get millions of dollars.
I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He's losing his mind.
Come on.
I wrote it down. I got it down. Put it on my to-do list.
It's like a traffic light.
Tomorrow, I have to bring in my poem.
Get it together.
It's been like nearly a decade since I read it.
Hello, on Wellies. Talk to me on Wellies, man.
Buckle up. You're going to love /hate it. So that's how extravaganza starts at noon Eastern, goes all the way to 8 p.m. Come spend Christmas.
Can you go at 12?
So, TYT Network.
This lamb on the starting stuff. I didn't hear it call.
What?
Don't say you didn't hear it. I just called the all day for you when I was at the pad. 1-7, all Wellington, 2 lamb.
Called it out 4 times.
I didn't hear the call, Chef. I didn't
So,
call back. I
in
didn't
the
hear it.
post game strike back against Troll.
I'm sick of the diary with Frank Marino. What the fuck you done?
Yes. It's going to be about 12 minutes in the ticket.
Then we'll do. You have to come up?
Yeah, let's go. Oh shit, he sent Nick out. I knew Nick was having a problem on me tonight. Hi guys, we're going to be about 12 minutes on the 2 lamb. That's how people crying. How's that one, okay? No, Nick, just under, right? Yes, Chef.
I just big chef in the kitchen. Where are you?
Right here, Chef. Nick, I don't know how you got so far into the shit show nightmare, but you are drowning.
So, T,
Yes, Chef.
how many weddings do you have ready?
Chef, I have no Wellingtons ready right now.
No Wellingtons ready.
I need to put them in the oven for at least about 4 more minutes, Chef.
Why are they all sliced? Who sliced them all?
I sliced them because when garnish was off, I got off and I sliced, and then they said they weren't ready.
What? Well, you don't slice it, so what is in the window?
The garnish is in the window.
Damn, Nick is going down in flames at the pass because he just left his fucking meat station in disarray. Like, come on. That's a no-no in the kitchen. I've got 6 all day.
Chef, I
How many do you have now?
There's only 1 Wellington. Okay, well, we need to grab more. Sauce right here. Wellington sauce. Thanks, guys. Right behind?
Sean, come on. We've waited so long. So long. So fucking long.
With the team now delivering perfect entrees to the pass.
Last cell, yeah? Here we go.
Yes, the final orders have made their way to appreciative diners.
Glad we waited.
It's for the 8-hour wait.
Here's good news. Your job's the same.
Thank you.
Yeah? Oh my god. Michael!
Yes, Chef.
What's the big salad for? Not even an order. What? Michael, what? What are you doing? Like,